A very good morning and welcome all of you to the daily news analysis for the new month, 1st of February onwards. So today being first day is going to be very important. As you all know, budget is going to come today, and yesterday the economic survey had come. So we are going to see a lot of news around economic survey in today's news analysis, plus the economic jargons, the concepts around Indian economy. It has at times been observed that a lot of questions have been framed around the topics or the concepts or the jargons used in the economic survey. So I will try my best to explain you all of them insofar as the news issues of the today that we have covered in the news analysis of the day are concerned. So around these topics, any new jargon, any new concept of economy that will come, I'll try to explain it in the best manner possible through the charts or diagrams or flowcharts that we have incorporated today. Now, Indian economy's fundamentals are robust amidst strong downsides. What are the downsides? Inflation, private sector investment is not picking up. All those issues we are going to see in today's news analysis. Now, just let me see if your comment thing is working fine. If audio, video, everything is fine for everybody. Just a sec. Yeah, this seems to be working fine. Now, economic survey says that micro, small and medium enterprises are lagging behind because of the disincentives of growing in the Indian economy. If you become a larger firm, you have to basically comply with a lot of regulatory compliances. So that is why the firms, micro, small and medium enterprises, they have a tendency to not grow as much. They have a tendency to remain small. Yesterday also I had explained that the if there are two kids, one is the elder kid and one is the smaller kid, so the elder kid would also want the mother, the government, to pick him in the lap. Why? Because there are benefits of being smaller. That is why the elder kid would also want to remain small. He does not want to behave in a mature way. So likewise, the micro, small and medium enterprises, they have a tendency to remain small because if they will grow up in size, they will have to abide by the regulatory compliances. They would have to comply with a lot of diktats, or they would have to pay a higher tax. They would have to comply with ESI, etc. So these topics are there. Now, what is the chief economic advisor saying? First of all, let me tell you, the economic survey is for 2024-2025. Why the previous year? It is on the basis of the previous year's survey that projections are done to come up with the data for next year, to come up with the growth projections for the next year. Based upon the survey of the previous year's economic conditions, the challenges that India had faced, it will be the projections under the economic survey as to how much tax will government be able to collect, how much will be the private sector growth, how much will be the consumption. All those things are projected based upon the survey of the previous year. That is why it is called economic survey. Now, I ask you a few questions around budget which have been asked in the previous years also. What are the documents that are presented along with budget? Is FRBM data, fiscal responsibility budget management data, a part of it? Okay, please answer these type of questions. Now, what is economic survey saying? 6.3 to 6.8% is going to be the economic growth for the year 2025-2026. When we check, compare it with the estimated 6.4% for the previous year. Okay, the ongoing year, as per the estimates, the growth is going to be 6.4%. Now, this year, considering the challenges like Donald Trump, global economic uncertainty, Russia-Ukraine war, this year's growth is going to be somewhere around 6.3 to 6.8%. And what is going to be the decadal growth rate? Decadal growth rate has been around 8%. Okay, so economic survey says that we would be able to maintain the average growth rate of around 8% when compared with the decadal growth rate. So we will somewhere be around the decadal growth rate, but 1.5 percentage points lesser than the 8%. How is that going to happen? Let us see what economic survey says further. Fundamentals of domestic economy remain robust. Now, what is economic survey trying to say here? When they say that the fundamentals of economy remain Just allow me a minute. This pen has got stuck. So fundamentals of economy, when they say that fundamentals of economy are strong, domestic economy, they are basically saying that because of the uncertainty in the global environment, global economic environment, India should focus more on domestic growth led model. What is the domestic growth led model here? What does it mean? It means that if every Indian, let's say for example, will start to consume one Parle G or one Good Day biscuit, how many Good Day biscuits will be sold? The point is we have a huge market. Okay, so even if small things are purchased and produced domestically, then also our growth rate will increase. So whenever there are protectionist waves, whenever there is a lot of protectionism, that in the sense that countries start increasing their customs duties, countries start levying tariffs. We are talking about tariffs because of Donald Trump. So what will happen in that scenario? In that scenario, it will so happen that government will have to focus on the domestic growth led model rather than export import led model. Exports and imports are important for India because we are import led economy. Okay, so the very reason that we are an import led economy means that we are dependent on the world for crude oil, for essential energy supplies. But we should, during this year, as per the economic survey, we should focus on domestic growth led model because of the global uncertainties. Okay, then I think this has got stuck for long haul. Just allow me a minute, guys. Seems to be working now. Yes. So another term that economic survey uses is disinflation. See, the difference between inflation and disinflation is inflation is when price of a commodity was 100 rupees and it increased to 101, 102, 103 likewise. Okay. Disinflation is when the inflation price is increasing, but it is not increasing at that same pace. Price is still higher. In disinflation, price is still higher. Okay, but it is declining. The pace of increase in inflation is less than in the previous year, in the previous period. Okay, so how is inflation important when it comes to economic survey? Inflation data, inflation digit is important because if inflation increases too much, then I as a consumer, you as a consumer would not be inclined to buy those goods. Okay, any item which was available for 105 rupees, 100 rupees, if it is available for 112 rupees this year, would you be buying that commodity this year? No. You would want the price to disinflate, to come down to at least 105 or 6, so as to motivate you to buy the same. You will then think that price has come down, let me buy it. So moderate inflation is good, but too much of inflation is bad for the economy. Now disinflation, deflation, when the price comes down below the price that is being compared with, below the period with which it is being compared. Now here 100 rupees was the original price, but price comes down to 98 rupees. Okay, this is a disincentive for the producers. Producers may not want to produce. Why? Because price has come down below the level what they were getting before. So deflation will lead to reduction in the prices for the producers. Okay, so inflation, this data, these, as we say that fundamentals of domestic economy remain robust with upsides, with positives to investments, output and disinflation. Okay, disinflation is a kind of positive thing that inflation is now coming down, more people, more consumers will be inclined to buy goods. And equally strong, now the economic survey says that there are equally strong prominently extraneous downsides. Extraneous matlab outside India. It means downsides, the negatives, positives are there, negatives are from outside the India. Okay, like Donald Trump imposing tariffs on India, China-India rivalry, then Russia-Ukraine war, sanctions on Russia, because of which India may not be able to import crude oil from Russia. These are the extraneous things which are going to act as a downward thing, negative thing for India to achieve this growth rate. If these downward things happen, they turn into reality, India's growth rate might be 6.3%. Pessimistic, optimistic. Okay, minimum this much we will be able to achieve is what the economic survey is forecasting. Now, observations of economic survey, quickly we'll go through them. Urban demand remains uncertain. Why urban demand remains uncertain? Because urban demand is more external sector led, more manufacturing led. And now India is a very integrated, globally integrated economy. Now any headwinds, if there is any policy change in the US, okay, so urbanites, the people living in the urban India, are their income levels are going to decline more than the people, more than that of the people living in rural areas. So that is why any global uncertainty, US, Canada, India relations, then China, Russia, Ukraine war, what is going to happen in the Middle East, West Asia, Israel, Palestine, all these things, because of the global integration of India, India is very closely connected with the rest of the world, right? So what is going to happen? This is going to affect people living in Bengaluru, Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai, etc. So this is the point here. Now, subdued private investment. That means private sector investment is not happening at a pace or at the level at which it was happening earlier. What do we mean by this? We mean that private sector is not that inclined to invest. Again, since India's private sector, because number one, inflation is increasing. If inflation is increasing, what is going to happen? Households are not going to be inclined to buy as much. You see, if inflation increases so much, then what is going to happen? If inflation is going to be 106 rupees, it is still fine. But if price of the item which was earlier being sold for 100 rupees is now going to be sold for 112 rupees within just 1 year, will you buy it? Let us say if M. Lakshmikant, which was earlier available for 600 rupees, is now available for 900 rupees, you would not buy it. Since you would not buy it, private sector will not be able to sell it. Okay, the company will not be able to sell the book, any book for that matter, because the price is increasing. Or same goes for Parle G biscuit. Common items too expensive. Same goes for mobile phones. So private sector firms like Reliance, Tata, Adani, okay, they are not that inclined to make investment. If investment is not happening, households would not spend. If households would not spend, firms will not be able to provide employment. Because their products like mobile phone, book, Parle G, biscuits will not sell as much as it was selling in the past. So that is why economic survey says that, let me come to that slide, private sector investment growth is not taking place. If private sector entrepreneurs, Adanis, Ambanis, Tatas, Birlas, micro, small, medium enterprises, if they are not going to borrow money from the banks and invest in the industrial enterprises, no cars would be produced out of, lesser cars would be produced out of India, lesser pencils, pens, books, Parle G, etc. Got it? Now, why? Because there another reason, these reasons are important for your UPSC prelims also. What are the reasons highlighted by the economic survey, underlined by the economic survey behind the decrease in private sector investment? Number one, global uncertainties, okay, domestic political timetable. This point is important this year. 2014, it was clear that Mr. Modi is going to win. 2019, again it was clear that Mr. Modi is going to win. But this year, 2024, private sector, big entrepreneurs, since they are politically connected to an extent, they may not want to invest until and unless it is absolutely clear that Mr. Modi or Congress or BJP, Congress to remote possibility, but still political uncertainty in the sense that whether Mr. Modi will be able to get the exact number of seats required to form the government on his own. So those political, domestic political timetable of elections was such that people were holding on to from making the investment. They were escaping until April, May or June, when he finally became the prime minister, right? And then prime minister with a coalition support, with the support of Nitish Kumar and all, that raises doubts whether he will be able to implement his economic reforms agenda. So political stability, as we read in Indian economics, basic economics, then global uncertainties, Donald Trump, etc. Also, because of the US elections in November, political stability factor comes in. People and entrepreneurs making thousands of crores of investments will hold back from making the investment until and unless there is political clarity. Uncertainty, Russia Ukraine war, etc. These are the reasons. Slowdown in investment activity is likely temporary. Economic survey is also saying that slowdown is temporary. It is not going to be of a long haul. For a long haul, for a period of 2, 3 or 4 years, it is going to be maybe 1 or 2 years maximum. Okay, green shoots are visible in the capital formation. Okay, what is the meaning of capital formation? Capital formation means when you invest 100 crores and you get 110 crores as return, okay, and you invest this 10 crore again, the profit, okay, this leads to capital formation. Next time you will invest 110 crores, you will get 115 crores as the return. Again you will invest 15 crore extra. Then this virtuous cycle of increased investment sets into motion, which is good for employment generation, which is good for GDP growth of India ultimately. All right. So these are the factors. Now, what is needed to fulfill the goal of Viksit Bharat? To make India a developed country, we need 8% growth for at least 10 years. Okay. Then investment rate has to increase from current rate of 31% to 35%. What is the meaning of investment rate here? I have incorporated this. Okay. Investment rate means, guys, yeah, okay, it is here. See, if economy is earning or having a GDP of, let's say, $3 trillion plus expenses, okay, if let's say a father is having an income of 3 lakh rupees and father's income expenses, monthly expenses are, let's say, 1.90 lakh rupees, okay, 1,90,000 rupees. How much is the surplus? 1,10,000 is the saving. Okay, out of this saving, how much is being invested? Okay, likewise for India, if $3 trillion is the income of GDP of the country, how much are we investing? The more we invest, the more we will gain in terms of profit, the more profit we will earn for the next year. So investment, the money that we save with the banks, we as individual households, okay, what these households do in this diagram, what these households do, these households earn 3 lakh rupees as we saw in our example, and they save 1,10,000 rupees with the bank. Okay, this is just one household, one factory, let's say. Okay, this 1,10,000 will be lent by the bank to the firm. Earlier, firm was making an investment of 25 lakh rupees. Now, with this additional 1,10,000, the investment will be 26,10,000 rupees. So, if the return on investment is 25%, profit rate is 20%, 25%, now the return will be on 26,10,000. Got it? This is how economy grows. Economy has to invest. Okay, so economy, people, the investor, the entrepreneurs, the government has to make such a policy that more money is going into investment. For India to become Viksit Bharat, economic survey says, number one, it has to grow at 8% rate. Number two, currently India's investment rate is 31% of its total earning. It has to increase to 35% is what the economic survey is telling us. Okay, 31% of India's income, that is GDP, it is now the investment rate. It has to increase to 35%. Then globalization is in retreat. Why did I incorporate this map? Earlier, it was all in green. US was opening its borders to goods from India, Bangladesh, everywhere, right? That they can import goods to United States, and they can import critical, India can import critical technologies from the US. Whatever technology, so solar energy, etc. Okay, for ISRO, for DRDO, for lead batteries, e-vehicles. US was open, world was open. Okay, globalization, world is a global village, we used to talk. But now, with the advent of, with the, see the reason is very important. With the reason that a lot of economies are now, Western economies are declining. Earlier, the Western economies which were earlier the Western economies which were asking the developing countries like India and China to open, now they are closing their own borders to the goods from developing countries. Okay, so in 2004, 11, 2002 onwards, world was relatively open for developing countries. Now the goods of developing countries are being discouraged in the developed countries. European Union protectionism, Brexit, Britain's exit from Europe, customs union, a free trade area kind of an arrangement. Okay, when these countries they start opting out of this WTO kind of, I mean, they start increasing their custom tax, or they start opting out of European Union, Britain, etc. What is the signal? Signal is that countries are becoming protectionist. So this is another factor that India needs to somehow grapple with in order for India to increase its growth rate. Okay, because globalization is retreat, it is stepping back. Globalization is not as much as it used to be earlier. That is why this will be another challenge in India's growth story if in case India wants to become a developed country. When developed countries were developed and developing countries were not growing at such a good pace, then developed countries like US, Western world, they were putting pressure on India, China, Brazil to open their borders to goods from US. But when their economies are declining, US economy is declining, and developing countries economies like China, India, BRIC, this Russia, or not Russia, Brazil, their economies are increasing, then they are closing their borders. US is closing its borders by erecting higher tariff walls, increased tariffs. Okay, so that is the problem. Now, greater focus needed on domestic. Therefore, because of all these challenges, we need to focus on our, in my words, we need to focus on our parleji. We should rather be looking up to the domestic goods rather than importing goods and increasing India's current account deficit. Okay, so these things are there. Now coming to the other news article of this economic survey only, economy's fundamentals are robust, getting out of the way surveys. What is the survey's prescription for the government? Getting out of the way and allowing businesses to focus on their core mission. So government should be more into indicative planning. Government should not come in the way. Rather, government should allow private businesses to focus on their core mission, terming this a compulsion now, not an option. Because if government will borrow more money, that will lead to crowding out of private investment. Private sectors will not be able to borrow from banks. Private sector will not be able to invest in sectors where government is investing because government subsidizes. Now, government needs to foster the ways to bridge trust deficit between authorities and people at large, between the all the regulators, insurance, RBI, licensing authorities. Okay, there is a trust deficit. Income tax notices are being sent to people, GST notices are being sent, fake invoicing, etc. These charges are being leveled. So government needs to bridge the trust deficit. Let me give you an example. Earlier, it was labor inspector. In the new labor codes, it is labor inspector come facilitator. So bridging of the trust deficit. Earlier, when you used to travel in the train, TT would ask you license dikhao. I mean, show your license, driving, ID proof or something. Show me the ticket. Nowadays, he just asks you your name. Got it? He just checks the confidence while you're sitting in the railway coach. He just sees whether you are lying or not. He is not going to suspect you as if you are a criminal. This is the bridging of the trust deficit required all across the economy. Income tax, labor inspector, anything that you do with the government, I mean, when you go to a police station, you get an ugly experience. But if same kind of experience is witnessed everywhere, that is going to lead to distrust between the people and the authorities. That needs to be bridged in order for economy to rise. Okay. Now, stop micromanaging economic activity, and we need to embrace risk-based regulations. Okay. So, we are in the era of self-regulation. Okay. Now, yesterday we saw P2P lending, peer-to-peer lending. RBI tells the peer-to-peer lending firms like I2I to show their pictorial representation of where they are lending the money. This is what trust deficit, micromanaging. Why would RBI ask to show every loan being lent through platform I2I? If you are regular with my news analysis, you will get to see a lot. Okay. So, if a person A is lending to person B via a private platform named I2I. Okay, these are peer-to-peer lending platforms. Person A is having surplus money, 2 lakh rupees, and person B needs this money. Now, RBI says you need to show the clear map of money lent from A to B, C to D, E to F, likewise. This is the distrust, this is the micromanagement that authorities need to do away with. Okay. Operating principle of business regulations must move from guilty until proven innocent to innocent until proven guilty. That is the adage of, that is the mantra of the LPG reforms or liberalization in the world. Okay, when I teach pub ed, I teach these kind of things. Innocent until proven guilty. Why is everybody treated as guilty? Like I told you the example of railway TTE, okay, in the rail coaches. So he is suspecting everybody. Show me your ID card. Why should I show? I have booked my ticket, paid bloody 1,000 rupees. Why would I show? So those kind of things we need to manage. Attract, promote and facilitate. Attract, promote and facilitate further domestic and foreign investments. So the culture of FIPB, Foreign Investment and Promotion Board, regulations used to take a lot of time. When some foreign direct investment proposal comes, it will take 3 months for the 10,000 crore rupees to be invested in India. Final approval will take 6 months to 1 year. Now, FDI facilitation has been done in a manner that in 30 days you can come to India and inform the RBI after 30 days, within 30 days rather. Okay, rather than getting the approval, you come, you are most welcome. So this kind of a culture is needed to become a competitive and innovative economy. As a lot of companies are moving out of China, we need to grab that opportunity by facilitating the FDI, investment in India. Okay, be it by making the process of acquisition of land better and relaxed rather than making it so strict. Dependence on China. Now, economic survey says that we have to accept the fact that we are going to be dependent on China for critical technology, be it for lead batteries, semiconductors, for solar panels, or for everything. As by 2030, China's share in the global manufacturing is going to be 45%. We cannot do away with the China. That is why recently our foreign secretary met the Chinese counterpart to bridge the trust deficit with China also. Why to have the atmosphere of negativity between India-China ties? $100 billion worth of trade, more $130 billion now. Okay, out of which India's trade deficit is $60 to $70 billion. So we need to attract investment from China rather than looking or frowning upon China. Okay, so these things are there. Now, higher profit share. This is a very important point. Higher profit share, stagnant wage growth, slowing economy. Failure of trickle-down theory I have written here. See, what is trickle-down theory? Imagine this to be a shower. It's getting stuck again and again. Okay, see, rich gain more wealth. It is written here if you are able to read. Then when the rich gain more wealth, when Ambani gains more wealth, investment, he will make investment in Jio. Jio will give jobs to poor people, unemployed people. That will set in motion of low skilled workers getting 15,000 rupees salary per month. This 15,000 rupees salary per month will lead to increased taxation for the government. Let's say it is 60,000 per month, 80,000 per month. This will lead to increased income tax collection. and this will lead to increased spending by those people. If a Jio employee getting Reliance Jio employee getting 80,000 salary is going to pay some tax to the government, government's capacity to spend on Manrega increases. Number one, social welfare schemes will get additional budgetary resources. Number two, this person will spend more on Parle-G biscuit, school fee of the children. That Parle-G biscuit company will then employ more workers because the demand is increasing for Parle-G biscuits. Okay, it's not that Parle-G is my favorite, I'm just telling you so that everybody can correlate. The things as small as Parle-G, as cheaper as Parle-G, how much of ripple effect can they have on our economy? This is trickle down theory. You give 10,000 crore rupees to rich people, any rich entrepreneur, by cutting taxes, by giving tax holidays, by giving tax concessions. Okay, we call it technically as tax expenditure. Government reduces the rate of tax, corporate tax, from 30% to 22%. That leads to a saving of 1000 crore rupees for Ambani. Ambani will start a new company, Reliance Jio, which will give employment to 10,000 people. Those 10,000 people will buy additional Parle-G's, Cadbury chocolates, Amul milk, setting in motion the virtuous cycle of investment, employment, expenditure, increased tax collection. This was trickle down theory of 1990s, 1970s, right? 1950s, 60s rather. But that trickle down theory had failed us in the past and is failing us now also. Why? Because when we give money to these people, when we give money to the rich people, because of the advent of, in the present times, because of the advent of artificial intelligence, manual jobs are on the decline. That is why economic survey says, this is happening, I don't know today. Seems to be the case that it has got to know that we are teaching economic survey and it does not want us to teach economic survey maybe. And today's budget day also, so a lot of work for me. Everybody, will see you at 9:30 p.m. today, between 9:15 for the budget session. Similar kind of explanation will be there, but we'll reduce it. All these economic jargons, everything, in next 7 days I will be explaining on my Telegram channel. I'll be sharing these things one after the other. Okay, so stay tuned on the Telegram channel. Jatin Verma sir, PW only IAS. English channel, yes, Jatin Verma sir, PW only IAS is the name of the channel. The link is given in the description box. Each and every such term which is worth the explanation, I'll explain it either through voice note or through the text or pictorial representations. Okay, just allow me a moment. Okay, let me do something else to fix this up. I'm so sorry for this bugger up today. Okay, we'll end the session here. Whatever news articles are left, we'll cover it in the budget economic survey session. Okay, we'll take an extra session on economic survey explaining these terms. Rest assured about it. We'll have to cut it short. Today's news analysis is full of economic survey only. All these concepts, as I was explaining, I'm sure they are of helpful to you. Please let me know in the comment section. If they are genuinely of help to you, we'll have another session on the economic survey today or maybe in the coming days. We'll cover them up. And every day for next 10 days in the news analysis, all such important concepts given in various chapters of economic survey will be covered through the days. Okay, so this is going to be the pattern in the coming days. One news issue, one news article from the economic survey will be taken up every day, be it in the form of Hindu editorial, Indian Express editorial, or a text page out of the economic survey itself. Okay, stay tuned for 9 p.m. and at 2 p.m. first of all for the salient highlights of the budget 2025-2026 with me, Jatin Verma, and at 9 p.m. for the complete budget analysis. The class will last for around 1 to 1.5 hours in the evening today. It will be a holistic budget analysis explaining you the terms, taking you through the entire budget speech point by point by the Nirmala Sitharaman. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.